All right, friends, if you've ever been on a weird date or shared your Wi-Fi password, this confession is for you. I'm Laurie March, project manager and problem solver, and this is True Home Confessions, brought to you by Renewal by Andersen. Let's listen.
Hi guys, my name is Abbey, and I guess basically I'm just looking for like a second opinion. Okay, so this thing has been kind of weirding me out for a little while. This guy I went on a date with was bragging to me about how he doesn't pay for internet at his apartment because he's using his next door neighbors. Okay, so basically, she's this older lady, and she asked him to help her make her internet faster because she was having trouble with her TV or something. And he told her to get like unlimited internet, like 200 or 300 megabits or something. And he helped her like set up this thing to make her internet like reach further in her house. Then like while he was doing that, I guess he joined her network and now just like gave up his own. Like he just stopped paying for internet. And when I asked him if that was stealing, he said, she has unlimited Wi-Fi. How can you steal something that's unlimited? Okay. I just don't understand, like, how he's able to do this, and it all just seems really sketchy. So I would love to hear your take. Thank you.
As you just heard, every episode, we field an anonymous confession about the crazy things going on in your homes. From real estate regrets to neighbor drama and fights with your spouse. Next up, I bring on a guest, a friend of the show, so we can test out the value of friendly advice. Afterward, I'm bringing you an expert who's going to solve our caller's sticky situation. And then they'll let us know if our friends are really qualified to solve our toughest problems at home. Today's friend of the show is comedian, host, and traveler, Joel Bryant.
Yay! Yay! The crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, they do.
The crowd of one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yay.
Yay! No, that's okay. No, that wasn't me pandering.
There
There you go. Okay, the audio is
I love it.
Perfect.
So, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's awkward for me because the guy is me. That's Abbey. We've been dating for a while now, and this is really odd. No,
Telling on you.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? If this is one big setup for my, it's like caught in a lie. First of all, if I may,
yes.
If I may, and I know I'm going to be very judgmental because Abby's not sitting in front of us.
Yes.
Anytime you ask for a second opinion,
yeah,
you already know what your first opinion is. You're just waiting for a second opinion to reinforce what you're already thinking.
Oh, this is a really hot take.
Yeah, that's more of a dating take, I think, than anything else. But I think like if you ever say, let me get a second opinion, you just want someone to say exactly what you're already thinking.
Yeah.
Right? So she already seems sketched out about it. That being said, I think this guy's a hero.
Tell me more.
Look, I look at that and I think, wow, what an innovative, forward-thinking, progressive, civic-minded, financially acrobatic individual. You know?
Wait. I need to hear more about civic-minded and financially acrobatic.
He helped his neighbor hook up her internet, an older lady who probably is still using an AOL DVD-ROM to boot up her chat rooms.
I can hear that noise in my head.
Yeah. So he was bringing her into the 21st century.
Okay.
As the technological hero he is. And so he was helping her out. And she's gonna buy unlimited internet anyway. So I agree. If you're taking from something that's infinite, you know, because like we breathe air all the time.
Sure.
And the air is infinite.
Is it?
I mean, it's an element that's made.
There's a lot of it.
When we're gone, there'll still be air.
Okay.
But we don't charge each other for air. We just assume we get it.
Not yet. I feel like Elon's probably headed there fast.
Yeah. They're gonna they're start bottling air. No. Is it weird not to think anything's wrong with that?
I'm here for your hot take. So
Yeah.
I feel like
I think she should be proud. I think she should be like, oh my goodness, we don't look at what he did. He manufactured this whole scheme to, I don't know, maybe I just date sketchy people. But I'm like, he doesn't sound all that bad.
Oh my God.
I'm sure he's doing way more sketchy things.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
so
I think
is a gateway sketch.
it's a gateway sketch.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think she needs to ask bigger questions.
Oh.
You know, like if you're curious about it, I think you need to say, what else are you?
If this is true,
what are the schemes? What are the schemes do you have going on?
Interesting.
You know, and it's more of a dating thing, I think.
Yeah.
But if it's just that, and otherwise he's a former Boy Scout and he's gainfully employed and he drives and he gets his oil changed every 5,000 miles and he holds the door open for her, I think she's really just nitpicking.
Okay.
So maybe there's a bigger issue on her side.
On her side, Joel.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I feel like it's not. I feel like there's a mistrust there, and I feel like they have to work on something bigger than just the unlimited.
Yeah.
Because everybody steals that stuff, right?
Do they?
Sure.
Do we?
You have Netflix passwords that you use.
Okay.
That aren't yours.
I feel like that's a good example. I want to come back to something you said about the unlimitedness. Like, can you steal something that's unlimited?
Well, yeah, no, I think it's mathematically impossible.
Is it though? But think about it. If we're talking specifically the internet.
Internet, right.
You know, we have unlimited internet, but at some point, don't they ratchet you down?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the plan, right? Like some plans, if you use too much, it starts slowing down your internet a little bit.
Right. Which would be a negative consequence.
But let's be honest. What is the old lady using the internet for? It's not like she's doing high-speed editing or like she's not playing World of Warcraft. She's not gaming. She's reading some emails and she's forwarding.
She definitely has an iPad too.
She definitely has but like a first-generation iPad.
Okay.
Right. So she's probably spending her time like watching cat videos and forwarding QAnon memes.
Wow, you really painted her into a corner here.
I feel like I did. I feel like I really I feel like I need to know her better actually. So she could call in next.
Well, she's trusting too because she's really trusting our guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Knocks on his door. Can you help me out? Trusting him.
Sure.
So maybe the trust question was on her end. Like maybe she shouldn't have trusted him because here he is poking around in her.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did. He definitely went under the radar with what he did. But at the end of the day, he got her internet up and running. He saves a little money on the internet streaming.
Okay.
And then he can buy an extra round of drinks when they go out for their anniversary.
Oh.
Because they've always been dating for a while. So maybe he's trying to save money for her to buy a ring.
Oh my God. You really
really
turned somebody who we thought was stealing into somebody who holds doors open.
We all have to do things. Yeah.
Changes his oil.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah.
And is saving for a ring.
He's a model citizen.
Okay.
Is what I think. I mean, yes, it's sketchy.
Yeah.
Is it illegal? Is it immoral? Does it harm anybody? Is it a victimless crime?
Is it a victim? Hey, this is a really good question.
Yeah.
Is it a victimless crime?
Sure. Right?
Is it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because, I mean, no one's getting hurt, right?
Nobody's getting hurt.
Yeah.
But maybe her cat videos are a little slower.
Yeah, but she's older. She has time to wait for him to load. That's terrible to say. That's terrible. I was going to say something else, and that was actually the nicest thing I had coming.
Let us have it, please.
No, I feel like she wouldn't know the difference. She was living with slow internet forever.
Right.
So then she gets some fast internet for a little bit. She goes, oh, this is a nice change of pace. And then when it slows back down again because he's using up all of her internet to watch his online adult videos, then she won't know the difference. She'll be like, oh, I guess it's back to what it was before. Right. But her bill stays the same. She's none the wiser. So yes, victimless crime. Victimless crime.
Interesting.
Those are the best crimes.
Okay. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm wondering about this video. So obviously the internet service lost a customer.
Yeah.
They lost him as a customer.
Right. They're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
What we're saying.
Absolutely.
Right.
Is it a gateway to bigger, worse things? Or is it just a way where he's trying to survive in today's kind of inflation-ridden world, and he's going to like get a little bit here, get a little bit there,
right?
Because big tech and big pharma and everything else aren't hurting.
But do you think that this lady would not have given him her password if he asked?
He set up the password, I'm sure.
I know, but I'm saying like,
yeah, her password's probably a password.
Right.
Like,
I'm sure he did better. It's like cat 123 cat.
I'm sure if we all had the address, we can just go to the house and get internet as well.
So my question to you becomes,
now
that this guy is under the radar, what do we think he's actually doing on her internet? Like, is that our next step in our gateway sketch? Like, is he actually shady?
Like, what's he looking up?
Is he using her? Because I think you're responsible
that's a bigger question, right?
For your internet. If your internet, like, say she does have the cat password and he has it and he's using it, but then he's looking up like cat porn or something, and suddenly, I don't even know if that's
I feel like cat porn is pretty nice. I feel like it's just like cats licking themselves. Yeah. But you can see that on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that hasn't really been
so
battened down yet.
Maybe he's looking up something more objectionable than that.
Sure.
And using her internet to do it. Isn't she kind of responsible for what's happening on her IP address or whatever?
That's the whole reason why you steal someone's internet.
Okay.
Duh. No, yes. And that's what I mean. That's a bigger question, right?
Right.
Like him stealing the internet that he set up and taking her unlimited internet, I don't think is the issue. I think that's kind of okay, that's kind of quirky. That's a bit weird, but that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's bigger questions to answer. Like, what else is he lying about? What else is he stealing? Why is he using her internet for nefarious means?
Yeah.
Is he running narcotics through the South American underground?
Right.
Through her.
Like, we need to check on her. Like, maybe there's a way, when we're finished with this, I'm going to talk to our tech expert, Carley, and I feel like she's going to tell us exactly how we can check and see if somebody is stealing from our internet.
There's a way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see if like someone's like doing stuff on your internet.
Right.
That's why I travel all the time.
So you can steal other people's internet?
No, so they don't steal mine.
Do you turn your internet off while you're gone? Wait, are you unplugging your router?
I don't. I currently don't have a place. I just travel all the time.
Wait, you live in the wind?
I live in the wind.
How did I not know this about you?
I go where the wind blows.
So where are you sleeping this evening? Is it like here?
I mean, whenever we're done here, I could probably just cozy up behind the sign. I haven't looked around yet.
Oh my God. The bathroom was really nice.
The bathroom was a very usable bathroom, not like the gas station down the street. They said they were out of service, and I was like, well, then don't have bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just go over. So internet issues aren't really my thing because I just use public Wi-Fi all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, which probably is a big security issue.
Well, now I'm wondering if this is why you're more amenable to this theft, because you're more comfortable sharing. It sounds like you're less risk averse with your tech.
You know what it is? It's here's my mindset is it's all of the stuff's out there, so use what you can to get by with what you need. Okay. Right? So that's the mindset. So it's sharing. Sharing. Yeah. Because I think the bigger companies that run these things, I think they're doing fine. Right. I'm not worried about the CEO of that unnamed internet company. Like, no. I'm sure he's not looking at his bills being like, well, I guess we can't get electricity this month. There's a gentleman who's stealing an old lady's internet. Like, no. He's not really, it's like, well, I guess I won't get the fifth boat. Like, I think they're fine. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So I'm not so concerned on that angle, on a moral angle.
I'm really curious to hear if our listeners feel like this is a victimless crime, and is there a crime? And I'm really looking forward to the social response on this one.
I feel like I'm going to get raked over the coals a little bit.
I feel like everybody does a little, and that's half the fun.
Let me just say, I'm also #Team Abbey. I think it's good to ask questions. Yeah. You go, Abbey. Yeah, I think that's like if he's using the free internet for dating apps, then I think that's an issue. Then I would confront him about that.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to find out if this is all advice that we should follow. Next up, we have Carley Knobloch, our tech expert, who's going to talk to us a little bit about how this is even happening, some ideas and solutions. And I can't wait to hear what she thinks about your advice, too. Friends, I have a confession. We own a beautiful 1927 Spanish-style home. And when it rained, I kid you not, I used to have to run around the house and put towels under the windowsills to collect all the water that poured in. It was bananas. I waited for years to replace the old wood windows because I was afraid the new ones wouldn't match the authentic style of my home. When I couldn't put it off any longer, I worked with Renewal by Andersen, and they put all my nitpicky fears at ease. When I work with a brand, I'm big on real relationships. You're only going to hear from companies that I have vetted myself. And I can tell you the people at Renewal by Andersen are the best. I'm not just saying that because I'm a brand ambassador. I truly love this brand. If you need new windows and doors, here's a little offer for you. Buy one window or door and get one 40% off, plus an additional $200 off your entire purchase when you buy 4 or more. Special financing is available. Are you in? Give Renewal by Andersen a call at 844-290-2458. Back to the show. All right, we're going to talk about that confession and explore the friendly advice from Joel Bryant with our expert. While I've got her, I have a few other questions too. When she's not talking tech on the Today Show or HGTV, she's sharing ways that we can all stay well in our wired world. I feel like I could say that like 5 more times. That sounded really good.
Delicious.
Today we're talking with smart home expert Carley Knobloch. Hello. That was very squeaky of both of us. I, by the way, have literally been drinking coffee in the morning and flicked through the channels and ended up on you on the news explaining any number of digital lifestyle tips or tricks, all things. Many of these things I have actually incorporated in my own home. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
I've also seen you at the Kitchen and Bath Show in a booth with like a zillion people around you and a bunch of press crowded around, everyone listening to you tell them what's good and bad and cool every year at the show.
Guilty.
And by the way, for the record, I have my own true home confession to make, or at least I think it might be a true home disclosure here. You, Carley Knobloch, tech guru, were a bridesmaid at my wedding. You are, in fact, one of my actual real life best friends. And I do, in fact, call you all the time with my tech questions. So when this confession came in, I frankly could think of no one better to field it than you.
My face is already hurting from smiling so much. I adore you. I remember when this podcast was a twinkle in your eye.
Yay.
And yes, I am indeed your bestie. And I'm so happy to be here. And this confession is a juicy one.
It is, right? Okay, so our confessor, Abbey, called in to tell us about something that was weirding her out from a date. This guy she went on a date with was bragging about how he doesn't pay for the internet because he's stealing it from a neighbor who asked him to help her set it up. I am just here to hear what you think, friend.
This is like in the mustache twirly diabolical bucket for me. Like it's because we're going to get into how he did it. And it's not, it goes beyond the password. There's like hardware involved. Like he has orchestrated a whole diabolical thing that like on the one hand, like, oh, wow, creative. On the other hand, like maybe not model citizen behavior.
That feels right. Friend of the show, Joel Bryant said, I think this guy is a hero. He said, what an innovative, forward-thinking, civic-minded, financially acrobatic individual. And he noted, is it weird not to think anything is wrong with this setup? What are your thoughts on that?
I like financially acrobatic, by the way, which I think is just code for stealing, like getting something for free at the expense of somebody else. And we will unpack, I think, whether this is a victimless crime or not, because it seems to be one of the central issues. And I'm not, so worried about big tech as I am worried about, grandma next door. So we'll get into that.
Agreed. He also said it's sketchy. Is it illegal? Is it immoral? Does it harm anybody? Is it a victimless crime, as you say?
Yeah. I mean, let's go there. I mean, let's even just start with like, is it a crime at all? Because it turns out it is. It's not a federal crime, but in California, and I'm sure in a handful of other states, having unauthorized access to someone else's Wi-Fi is considered stealing. And in addition to that, because like, let's face it, are you really going to be prosecuted? Probably not. I did look it up though. Maximum county sentence for jail time could be up to a year and a fine of up to $5,000. So it's a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. Although if you're a repeat offender, if you're going around the whole apartment building stealing people's Wi-Fi one after another, it could become a felony. So it's not nothing, but you are going to be slowing down the person's internet connection. And, especially if you're on there doing all kinds of streaming or using it to play, high graphics intensive video games and stuff. So there are going to be negative effects on this kindly woman that you're taking advantage of.
That's what I was thinking. At some point, she's going to feel it. And to your point, if he's, editing something really heavy or he's gaming like crazy and, it happens to be the time that she's trying to stream something or watch something, like, I do not believe that old people only have Generation 1 iPads. I don't even think they work anymore. So I think Joel was like a little... He really decided that she was like a cat lady and that she didn't know anything. And frankly, I don't think that's fair. I think she probably has a new iPad because she loves it. I mean, most people who read on an iPad tend to stay up on it a little bit, 'cause it's a great tool. And they kind of obsolete themselves anyway. So they go away and you need a new one. So I think she probably here and there actually uses her Wi-Fi for something important. And I feel like she would feel it.
Absolutely. And, as you might imagine, I am the, chief tech support officer for both sets of my parents, my in-laws and my actual parents, and many other people's parents, because of what I do for a living. And I'm always talking to people. And I know both kinds of older people, the kind that are a little bit Luddite, in that category, and the kind that are really active online and they're looking at their kids' Facebook and Instagram photos and they're talking to their grandchildren on TikTok and, they're consuming data. Even if you're only watching cat videos, which is a little bit of a, it was derogatory. Let's just put it that way. Cat videos are data rich. And if you're downloading a bunch of them, you need your wireless network to be optimized and not have, people on it that you don't even know are siphoning away your speed and your data. So even if it's unlimited, and then ultimately also you're responsible for what you are downloading on the internet. So if kindly older lady realizes that there's some sort of like dark web business being run through her Wi-Fi connection, or she's, or he's downloading a bunch of really like terrifying porn or whatever, she's going to be responsible. So, victimless crime, if you want to frame it from the perspective of big tech, maybe like as he said, they're okay. Right. But, victimless crime in terms of his neighbor, not so much.
Yeah. Okay. So True Home Confessions asks, are we taking this friendly advice from our friend of the show? Is his advice worth following? Do you think Joel got it right?
I don't really think so. But I am a very straight-laced, rule-followy type of human. And I am no longer in the socioeconomic bracket of trying to scrape by and make ends meet. Even if I was, however, I don't know that I would go as far as stealing what is easy to steal just because I'm a little tech savvier than my neighbor. So I think that I can see where he's coming from. And if he truly lives in the wind, then, he's like you said, pretty smartly, like a lot, less risk averse than I would be. And just maybe a little bit morally nebulous than I would be.
I can't wait to tell him that because he rattled off that wonderful list. Financially acrobatic, and we're going to return and let him know that he is possibly morally nebulous. I love it. I feel good about that. And frankly, I think we brought up something interesting. How do you know if somebody is stealing your Wi-Fi, right? Because part of this is like, if you don't slow down, how would you know if could somebody be on my Wi-Fi right now and I have no idea?
Yes. I think
I hate that.
but there's ways to know, and there's ways to really be sure that they are not. And there are complicated ways where you can determine what your IP address is, which is your internet protocol address, which is unique to you. And then you can use that to log into a browser and see what other devices are connected to that IP address and make sure you recognize all of them. Many modern Wi-Fi routers, though, have an app that will show you at any given time what devices are connected to it. So if you're checking occasionally, you don't see anything that looks weird, you're probably good to go. But honestly, and I'm going to probably say this like 6 more times as a button to all of these questions, the best way to prevent all of this is to create a secure password that only you know, because in order to be on your Wi-Fi, you have to have the password. And we do want to have special characters, and we do want to have long, complicated passwords that our brains aren't really designed to remember. And there are tools to help you manage those things. And I talk about password managers all the time with people, and they say, oh, well, are they safe? Yeah, they are safe. They double encrypt everything that's in there. So essentially, a password manager is going to be like an address book for your passwords, where you don't have to remember them because it's going to automatically log you into whatever website you go to. So once you don't have to remember passwords, you're free to make them as long and complicated as possible. And if you aren't using cat123cat, it is a lot less likely that someone will be able to guess it, know it, remember it, use it in the apartment next door.
And you know what, frankly, I think of the little old lady in this confession, and I feel for her because tech is really intimidating. I feel like it is changing around us every instant. Home tech, especially, I think as consumers crave it and incorporate it more into their lives and our lives, I'm like, for the record, I hate home tech. You and I talk about this all the time. I'm the first person to say, I don't want it. I don't need it. And then the things that have slowly crept into my house are extremely useful. I don't like cool tech. I just want exceptionally functional tech. Like
that, I didn't hear that. Did you say extremely useful?
Yes, I know. This is an ongoing chat about how tech is actually useful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key. Nobody wants a bunch of tech in their house that just provides a headache, that they have to upgrade, that they have to learn, that they have to manage, that they have to install and troubleshoot, if it doesn't create a huge benefit, including myself. I mean, I test things all the time. There are things cycling in and out of my house all the time. But the things that remain are the things that actually move the needle in terms of convenience, of safety, of peace of mind, of fun sometimes. And those are the things that stick around, because that's what I don't have the patience to manage, dozens and dozens of devices that don't really help me. So I think that's real. And I think that that's what we all should have. But, on that note, if you're going to have a wireless router and you have someone that you trust come help you, have them write some basic instructions. And one of the instructions should be, how do I reset the password if I feel
that's smart? That's smart. I mean, you kind of hit on something, someone that you trust. And I feel like the heart of this confession is part of it in there that gets me is that this lady trusted this guy next door. And I kind of feel like he broke her trust, like we're talking about victimless crime, this or that about the internet connection, the company. But this lady asked him to help her do something. He did it. So he did the task, but he took advantage in that moment. And frankly, I feel like he took something that she would have given him anyway. Like if he had said, hey, while I'm at it, do you mind if I also occasionally log into your internet and use it because I'm broke or whatever? And I kind of feel like he took something that she might have just said yes to in the first place. And then that just feels yucky.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, where does it end in terms of like what's okay to steal? And even though, Spectrum or Verizon or any of these companies like are going to be just fine if they lost one customer because 2 people are sharing. That's the argument about sharing Netflix passwords. And I think he said like, yeah, people share these things, right? So it's like, where does it end? I love how he said, Joel said that this guy was civic minded. I mean, he started out right. He started out helping her with her internet. And who knows if, here's the problem. And we can talk about how he was able to do this, because he didn't just go to his house and log in with her password. He actually bought a piece of hardware and added it to her system. So do you want me to tell you like what that's?
I want to talk about this. I have a feeling I know what this is about because it sounds similar to something that's at my house, but let's hear it.
Yeah, so it sounds like he advised her to upgrade her system, if it wasn't this system already, and install a router that creates a mesh network. So what a mesh network is basically a router that has a series of additional pieces of hardware called points or Wi-Fi signal extenders. You would use this in, a large home or a two-story home where you don't want the people that are sitting right next to the wireless router just to have the good connection and the people in the bedroom upstairs to have the weak connection. So it kind of bounces and amplifies the Wi-Fi signal to all the existing additional points. And many of these systems will allow you to install as many points as you need. So you could even put one in your backyard as long as there was a waterproof spot for it. And then suddenly you can create a much bigger, stronger sphere of connectivity that is strong in every corner, so to speak. So he not only set up her Wi-Fi, then he went and bought an additional point, it sounds like, or Wi-Fi extender, installed it in his home, attached it to her network because he knew the password. So it's like he bought stuff. Like, this is a whole diabolical plan.
Mustache twisting. Isn't that what you said at the beginning? Like,
like, I don't know what I'll do. And like, maybe he rubbed his hands together a little, like, or definitely a mustache twist.
Sure.
But he'd never be able to deny culpability because he literally has like hardware in his house that's attached to her stuff. So it's, it's kind of like a very premeditated plan.
It sounds like I think I have this at my house called Eero, and it's kind of like the thing that makes my wireless doorbell work better because it's further out, it's in the front yard, so it's further away. So I don't remember the setup. Possibly he had to decide to do this while he was setting her up, right? Because sometimes you have to like poke the Eero while you're setting it up or touch the router to add another point. So this feels like he really made like a really fast snap decision to like go down this road.
It's not a heat of passion crime. It's definitely a premeditated crime.
Mm-hmm. Can you steal something that's unlimited? Is unlimited Wi-Fi unlimited? And I know that sounds so stupid to ask it like that, but is something in the universe that's unlimited? Yes. But is unlimited Wi-Fi truly unlimited? I don't think so, right?
It's not necessarily. And it really actually depends on the rules and regs of your internet provider, because unlimited can kind of just be simply a marketing term. If you're really looking closely, if you're really reading the fine print, which is always a good idea in all of these tech instances.
Nobody ever does it, by the way. None of us ever. It's very hard to read. People make it hard to read on purpose, all of these terms and conditions. So you're saying somewhere in there was something important that we needed to know about unlimitedness.
Yeah, because I think that there are some providers that would say once you hit a certain data cap, then you start to have a compromised connection. Your speed is downgraded, which I think you were referring to.
Yes.
So the cat videos get slower. And then there also might be language in your data plan that allows them to cut you off after excessive usage. So it really depends. These guys, the house always wins. So these internet providers are never going to be put in a situation where you can just be running like a data farm and, taking advantage of their unlimited Wi-Fi. And so I think it's like probably something you should consider more as a marketing term than an actual literal unlimited. But for most people, it is unlimited because we're not consuming nearly enough video or video games or whatever to send a red flag up to our internet providers. And if the dude next door is just using the Wi-Fi to check his email every night when he comes home from work or before he goes to bed, like, it's probably not going to be a problem. But if he's doing like a porn-a-thon binge or running, again, like, huge, playing World of Warcraft or Call of Duty, like night, hour after hour on someone else's dime, it is probably going to be a problem at some point.
Yep, that makes sense. I've been thinking about it too. If somebody has access to your Wi-Fi, what else do they have access to?
Any smartphone, any computer, any camera, any smart home device, like he would be able to have access to. So
the camera just freaked me out. Gross.
gross. And so he could really mess with her if he was that kind of guy. And so, the question I would have is like, in terms of trusting your nice neighbor, is like, do you really know this person? How long have you known this person?
Yep.
Do we ever really know anybody? I mean, to me, it's like there are things that you get what you pay for. So it is nice to ask friends for help. Hopefully your actual friends are people you can trust and maybe are knowledgeable. Those friends, though, would encourage you to, either have instructions about how to reset the password after they're done helping you, or look away while you set the password while they're helping you, and never share them with anyone, and learn how to store them securely. And those are the kind of like digital hygiene things that make a lot of this moot. And, you wouldn't know those things if you're not super tech savvy. But if you're hiring somebody from a tech support company, like a Geek Squad kind of person, they're licensed, they're bonded, they're going to be reprimanded, lose their job, go to jail, whatever it is. If there is any problem, it just seems like it's a lot less likely that you'll have a problem. But really what I tell my kids is it doesn't matter how close your bestie is to you. Don't share your passwords with anyone ever. It's just a high risk behavior.
So when I'm traveling, occasionally you join sort of like the airport Wi-Fi or something if you have to get something out really quickly, or, if you're trying to quickly download a video, I don't know, something. So like, is it okay to join a public Wi-Fi?
I mean, here's the thing. It's a numbers game. It's a luck game. And the truth is just like the neighbor has access to the other neighbor's information because he's on her network, anyone who's on that network with you in the airport would also potentially, again, with the right software and the right know-how, criminal know-how, would know how to get into your computer. And so there's ways that you can be safe. But if you're just popping on at a Starbucks while you're waiting for your latte, it's probably not worth it. Probably just best to stay on your own cellular connection if you can, and you don't need to download something huge.
Got it.
That said, if you have something called a virtual private network or a VPN, it's a great tool to use if you are living in the wind and you are traveling all over the place and using a lot of public Wi-Fi. Again, if you're not that risk averse, maybe it's not really in your consciousness, but at some point, most of us in the modern age have to check our email, do some online banking, maybe shop and give our credit card. Any of those are really, really high risk behaviors to do in a public Wi-Fi setting. So a virtual private network or a VPN basically obfuscates and protects your internet connection from prying eyes. So it sort of does that by bouncing your connection over to some other part of the world and then bringing it back to where you are is kind of the simplest way I can explain it. So it's almost like you put a cloak on and like a little hat and sunglasses, and no one can see you and no one can have access to your computer because you're logging in this way that's sort of bouncing your connection to a different location and then back. As a rule of digital hygiene, just to like save your online banking or paying your credit card bill or doing your online shopping for like those types of tasks for when you're home.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I like that you use the phrase digital hygiene. I know I've heard that from you before. That's just such a Carley phrase to me. But it's like cleaning up your digital life. And when I'm thinking about passwords, I keep coming back to my house. And when people come over, like friends, fine. I certainly don't mind if friends hop on my Wi-Fi. But sometimes you have a service provider come over, or like the HVAC guy or somebody, who's going to spend a little bit of time there, contractor maybe, who knows. And then if they want to hop on the Wi-Fi because they have to send a bunch of pictures or something like that, it feels like over time, a chunk of people could sort of have access to your Wi-Fi. And like, is that okay?
Yeah, I would say there's ways to avoid that. And then then you can sleep at night. You don't have to worry. So what you could do. So first of all, again, coming back to, you need to know the basic instructions of how to reset the password on your router. That's kind of a big job, and it's an extreme job. I was sort of liken that to like rekeying your house, right? Like if you have a roommate move out and you know they had keys and you don't want to worry that maybe they saved one or they made an extra one you don't know about, you would rekey the house. And it's a little bit of a big deal and a little bit of a headache, but like you would do that to protect your home.
Yeah.
So that's, if you are aware that your router has been compromised or you fear, then you can reset the password. Then you're going to have to like re-log in from all your different devices and how many
That
devices.
is my nightmare. I hate that moment.
It's certainly a little bit of a headache. So you want to avoid that, but you also want to be nimble enough to know how to do that. But the other thing you can do is set up what's called a guest network, which is a completely separate access point. Again, it's not hardware. It's something that you would set up in the software of your wireless router. And it creates an isolated network with its own password. And it basically will allow you to share your Wi-Fi password with people, have them log on like the workman, like, a friend coming by or even an acquaintance coming by that you don't know that well and they won't be on the network that all of your devices are on. So your smart home devices, your smartphone, your laptop can all be on the main network with the main network password, and you assign a guest network and they just have like a private little guest room sort of in your wireless life. And you can change that as many times as you need without changing the whole burrito. And it's a lot easier to manage and a lot less sensitive, because when they're in the guest network, they're just kind of there by themselves. They're not with all your other devices.
That's so smart. I love that. And that's like one of my great fears about technology is sort of like, somebody has access to something that I didn't, I was not smart enough to realize, that now somebody has access to all of this important stuff in my house. And so like I can sort of sequester them into a little guest network. I love this. That feels rude and fabulous. And I plan on doing it as soon as I get home.
I mean, what I always tell people is that like, if somebody is really intent on getting into your digital life, just the same way as if someone's really intent on breaking into your home, they're going to find a way around your alarm system. They're going to figure out what window isn't armed. They're going to, slide in some way. They're going to smash a window and grab what they can. It just is about, do you have a brightly lit home? Do you have a gate in front of your house? Do you have a Doberman? Like, you want to create added levels of security that just make it that much more difficult. And then they go, you know what? I'm just going to move on to the neighbor and see if they have a more vulnerable situation I can take advantage of. And so it's the same with your house as it is with your digital house. Like, if someone really wants in and they're like out to get you and hack you, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a game of who can outsmart who can outblock who, and you might lose that battle. But for the regular person who doesn't have anybody, trying to mess with them, it's just about setting up those little layers of safety so that it's just that many more times difficult and somebody just moves on.
Yeah. New fear unlocked. Thank you very much. So Wi-Fi security sort of makes me think of computer security as well. And I know we've crept a little bit away from our confession, but I did say, while I have your brain here, I plan on using it. And we talked about VPNs and passwords. Is there anything else that we should be thinking about? I know I freak out a little bit when my computer saves my credit card information. For whatever reason, that sort of gives me like emotional hives. So can you please just tell me if I'm crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. Here's how I like to think of it. I wouldn't necessarily tell you that the Chrome browser is insecure or the Apple keychain is insecure. I think that these companies are large and well-funded and well-meaning, and they are creating encryption and making it generally safe for you to store your passwords in there. There's something, however, about a free product that always just makes my little spidey sense kind of tingle in terms of what are they getting in return? It's certainly not altruism that is that's motivating them to create these keychain and password managers and credit card managers for you in the browser. So to me, again, it's like, not only am I going to pay for my own internet, but I'm also going to pay for my own password manager, because my password manager manages my credit card information and my different identities, like my different addresses too. So it makes it incredibly easy for me to buy something. It auto-populates all my numbers. I never have to type in my credit card or my billing address or my shipping address or anything like that. And I pay money for it. And there's something very honest about that exchange that feels right to me, because, we've heard the cliche so many times at this point. If you don't pay for the product, then you are the product.
Ew, I hate it. And it's so correct.
Right?
Ew.
So there's something really nice about a very reputable, and you want to do your research, and everything is secure because it's in this sort of encrypted environment where you have to create a master password and nobody can log in. And so I tend to not use the Chrome or the web-based or the OS-based password managers or keychains. And I use the one that I pay for to do everything. I was also going to mention that not only does my password manager store all of that stuff, but it also is checking the web and giving me like a health report of my password. So it'll tell me if it thinks my password is too small or too easy to figure out, or if I haven't changed it in a long time and I might want to consider updating it, or if the company that the password is for has been hacked recently.
Oh,
so
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's giving you all kinds of intel that can help you just, again, we're back to this like hygiene terminology or digital health, but like helping you stay apprised of your own digital health in any given environment.
Yep, that makes a ton of sense. I kind of come back to this confession, and I'm really thinking about our older gal again. And like, is there anything that we can do to keep older family members, neighbors, all of them, a little bit safer?
Yeah, I mean, this is what's so sad about our culture is like, what is this woman's story? Does she not have any children or grandchildren that could help her, that have her best interest at heart? Did she have to go to a neighbor because she doesn't have those kinds of relationships? Is she out on her own? I think if there are older people that you're concerned about, that you love and care for, like you should be helping them, not just with their physical health and their emotional health, but their digital health as well. So again, writing out some basic instructions, doing a little digital checkup on them every once in a while. I know for my parents and my in-laws, it's often about updating their OS software, explain it, because they get so petrified when it's time to upgrade the software. But I'm like, they are fixing bugs and holes in the system that keep you, or that would be unsafe. So every time you update your software, they've patched things, they've remedied things, they've fixed things. And so keeping it updated is a way to keep them safe. Giving them some basic instructions about how to detect spam and phishing emails and things like that. Writing out those instructions. There's a great web app called Loom that will make a very quick sort of video where it records you talking and your screen. And so I find it super helpful now for my parents and my in-laws and other older people that I provide support to, where I can walk them through, like, first you click this, then you click this, then you go over here, and that's where you find this setting and make sure that's turned off. And that's why you're having this problem. And so almost sending them little instruction videos that are customized for their problems that they have on a recurring basis, or in the case of our topic, like showing them where to go in the software or on the website, log in. This is where you reset the password. This is where you make sure that there's no devices on here that you don't recognize. And it creates these little instructional videos really easily. You just hit record, just like you're, recording a video, and it shows your whole screen. So you can demo things for them. They can keep a little library of them and just make sure they have a basic understanding about how things work.
Okay, so if nothing else, what should Abbey do about this guy that she's dating? And she called in with a confession, looking for a second opinion, she said.
Well, I agree with Joel in this one spot where the second opinion request is really just to validate what you already know. I think that I'm going to stop just short of calling this guy a hero and say, I don't know, when you date someone, it's to learn about who they are and what their character is and what their scruples are and what they consider to be moral and amoral behavior. And so there's a match for everyone, Laurie. Like, I think Abbey just needs to decide if she wants to date someone who is capable of this. And maybe Abbey is really compatible with Joel and doesn't think it's a big deal at all. It sounds like she does, though. So yeah. I'm thinking Abby's, looking for validation that this is not cool. As far as if there's anything else she should do, I was thinking about this a lot, and it's so hard because if she blows him out of the water, now there's two neighbors that know that the other one is not, that was taking advantage of them, and they still have to live next to each other. And it's like, I don't know, but
yeah, like if Abbey went and told the lady next door.
Yeah. But so maybe she wants to stop short at that, although that would certainly be a stand-up move. And then, maybe she just wants to, if she's ever going to see this guy again, just let him know that, like, in some sort of breezy way, like, hey, this is actually stealing. And I looked it up. And maybe that'll be the nudge that he needs to get his compass back in the right orientation.
Okay, Joel says this guy's a hero. He's innovative, forward-thinking, and a little sketchy. Carley says, let's all protect our digital hygiene and decide what kind of person is for us. To our confessor, Abbey, I would say, my guess is if he asked her, this neighbor would actually have said yes to sharing the internet. And she probably would have asked him every now and then to help her with her Apple remote or some other little things. And she probably would have baked him cookies. And when she made soup, dropped it off, and it would have been an equal trade. So my gut is, I don't know, man. Feels like an opportunity to make a friend.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're out there listening and you have a confession, email it over to us, truehomeconfessions@gmail.com, or you can call and leave it on the confession line, 323-716-2107. You can also just kind of leave us a little feedback. Let me know if you think we got it right or wrong. I want to thank you for listening. For all the ways you can find Joel Bryant and Carley Knobloch, as well as a lot more information, especially on this one. There's going to be a ton of stuff in the notes. Please consider sharing this with a friend. Thanks for hanging out, and hit subscribe, and let's do it again. True Home Confessions is a show that's all about advice. I want to tell you about another powerful advice podcast that I love called Everyone's Talking Money. Let's face it, fixing your relationship with your finances is kind of like doing seasonal home maintenance. Nobody wakes up excited to deal with it, but damn do you feel better once it's done. Everyone's Talking Money is hosted by certified financial planner and money trauma specialist Shauna Game. When you listen to the show, you learn things like how to train your brain to reach your money goals, why you might need a mindful spending plan, ways to invest in real estate, and so much more. With over 1,250 episodes, there's one for every money question you've got. Shauna has this soothing voice, which helps so much when you're listening to emotional topics and tips. Last week, I heard a great episode of hers all about how to rewire negative money thoughts and why hiding all that stuff you buy is not a great solution to overspending. Are you ready to get financially unstuck? do yourself a favor and subscribe to Everyone's Talking Money podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Again, that's Everyone's Talkin', TALKIN, Money podcast.